In today's news from the criminal courts, we learned that a St. Thomas woman has been arrested and charged with assault following an altercation over a parking space. A Florida resident was arrested on firearms charges, and a St. Croix woman is facing charges relating to elderly abuse and exploitation. The parking space incident occurred on September 8th when a tow truck operator was inspecting the Morgans Bay Junction. Police reports indicate that he saw a black Honda in a no parking area near Building 1, blocking the handicap ramp. After making some rounds, the man returned to find that the vehicle in question was still in place, and so he says he began the process of getting it towed. That was when the man says Kernisha Naomi Daniel came out of a nearby elevator, cursing at him and demanding to know where he was taking her car. When he pointed out the no parking sign on the wall, Daniel reportedly informed him that she had been to see the manager, who the man then asked her to contact. The manager confirmed to Daniel that the tow truck operator was authorized to enforce parking regulations on the property, and then the operator says he agreed to give her a break on condition that she not park in that particular location again. Instead of accepting the man's lenience, Daniel reportedly continued to verbally abuse the tow truck operator until he recanted his earlier offer and informed her that either she or the manager would now have to pay for his services. That reportedly prompted Daniel to grab the control lever, breaking it as the vehicle was being lowered to remove it from the wrecker. The tow truck operator admitted to shoving Daniel at that point, to which she reportedly retaliated by thumping him in the head and then pulling out a metal bat from the back of her car. Daniel reportedly advanced, swinging the bat with the man retreating. She allegedly took her anger out on the tow truck, smashing the driver's side window before returning her attention to the driver, telling him, "You're next," before reportedly swinging at him and catching his hand with the bat. The man told police that he was able to disarm the bat-wielding woman with the assistance of a passerby who saw the commotion. The Good Samaritan held the bat away from Daniel while the complainant dialed 911. Daniel was arrested shortly thereafter and charged with assault in the third-degree simple assault, destruction of property, damaging and tampering with a vehicle, and disturbance of the peace. In court on Friday, Daniel's ability to travel outside the St. Thomas-St. John district without court authorization was curtailed as a condition of her $6,000 bail. However, she will be able to secure release if she posts 10% of the bail amount. Once released, Daniel must report to the probation office every week and must not have any contact with the alleged victim. Daniel is also prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition while the matter is pending. The Florida resident before the courts on gun charges was arrested after he flew into the Henry E. Rolson Airport on September 2nd. TSA officers conducting security screening discovered a loaded Glock 45 9mm firearm in the checked luggage of Trevor Kyle Modest Etienne, with 1 live round in the chamber and 14 other live rounds in the gun's 16-round magazine. There was also an extended magazine with 27 rounds of ammunition inside. All of the weaponry was inside an unsecured box, and the luggage the box was in was similarly unlocked. Brought in for questioning on September 9th, Modest Etienne said that he traveled with his gun for safety reasons, but admitted that he did not have a lock for the gun's box or for his checked luggage as required. He also admitted that he did not declare his firearm with the VIPD Firearms Division or with the Port Authority Police Department. He did produce a firearm license from Florida, but the VIPD Forensics Department confirmed that he did not have a license issued by the U.S. Virgin Islands. Modest Etienne claimed, despite the many prominent signs posted on the airport compound, that he was not aware of the procedure to report his firearm to the VIPD. He was then arrested and charged with failing to report a firearm that was brought into the territory. In court on Monday, a judge ruled that Etienne would need to sign an extradition waiver to be able to return to Florida before trial. Bail was set at $5,500, with the allowance for Etienne to post 10% of that amount to secure his release. He must report to the Office of Probation every Tuesday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. and must have no unlawful contact with the complainant or witnesses in this matter. And on St. Croix, 52-year-old Lizette Algarin Felix appeared before the courts accused of exploiting an elderly man. The alleged offenses spanned between 2018 and 2019 and include obtaining money by false pretenses, embezzlement, identity theft, aggravated identity theft, forgery and counterfeiting, filing or recording forged instruments, conspiracy, grand larceny, acting in assumed character, intentional access, alteration, damage or destruction, and financial exploitation of an elder or dependent adult. The senior citizen in question had authorized one man, Ricardo Felix, to handle his personal affairs. In 2019, Felix informed one of the man's family members that he was no longer receiving the man's mail at the Kings Hill post office on St. Croix, where it was usually delivered. That family member, who had a limited guardianship over the elderly citizen because of his declining faculties, began to investigate. Felix and the other relatives soon discovered that a change of address form had been completed by someone who had forged the elderly man's signature. As a result, the senior citizen's mail was now being forwarded to an address in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which turned out to be the residence of Felix's younger brother and that brother's wife, Lizette Algarin Felix. Further investigations revealed that a deed of gift had been filed with the Office of the Recorder of Deeds, naming Algarin Felix as the elderly man's granddaughter and gifting her sole possession of his home once he passed and his death certificate was filed. In 2019, Algarin Felix had also reportedly obtained a power of attorney authorizing her to act in the man's stead in almost all of his affairs. However, the man's signed and notarized will indicated nothing of the sort. Rather, the man's caretaker, Ricardo Felix, Algarin Felix's brother-in-law, was listed as the inheritor of the man's home and a portion of the funds in his bank accounts. Neither of the two other inheritors of the money listed was Algarin Felix, and neither was Algarin Felix, or anybody else for that matter, listed as the elderly man's offspring or descendants. It was also discovered that at least $60,000 had been taken out of the senior citizen's bank account between February and May of 2019, transferred to the account of Algarin Felix's brother. The email address and telephone number associated with the man's account had been changed to that of Algarin Felix. Before he died, Algarin Felix and her husband had also allegedly taken the elderly man to Florida with them on at least one occasion against the wishes of his caretaker. At one point, Ricardo Felix had to visit the airport armed with a court order to prevent his ward from leaving the territory with his brother and sister-in-law. When Algarin Felix appeared in court at the beginning of the week, she was assessed bail in the sum of $35,000, of which a $1,000 cash deposit was required to secure her release. However, if she wishes to return to Florida ahead of her trial, Algarin Felix will need to agree to an extradition waiver. Other bail conditions include not meeting or speaking with the complainant or any other witnesses in the matter. Her pre-trial conference is scheduled for November 18th.